Good morning. In continuation to the previous video, I'm going to proceed with the structures of basal nuclei. I'll just show you the caudate nucleus alone for you to get an idea of the location. Okay. A brief recap. This is the corpus callosum and this is the cut edge of septum pellucidum, and here this X-shaped mass is here, thalamus. Beneath the thalamus, this is the hypothalamus. Here you have the midbrain. From here to here, this small portion is called as midbrain. This is pons, this is medulla, this is cerebellum. Okay, and as we have told you earlier, what is this cavity of the forebrain? This is the lateral ventricle, which has an anterior horn, body or central part, posterior horn, and into the temporal lobe, inferior horn. Okay. This is the hypothalamic sulcus, which extends from, this is the foramen, interventricular foramen, till the aqueduct of Sylvius. This is the hypothalamic sulcus, aqueduct of Sylvius, fourth ventricle. Okay. Now, within the cavity of lateral ventricle, this is thalamus, we said, egg-shaped mass. Above the thalamus there is one fiber called as fornix, because this fornix arises, this is the output of hippocampus. You would have learnt in Pappas circuit in physiology, right? This is the fornix which goes and finally reaches one nucleus beneath, which is a part of hypothalamus, I must say. Do you remember? This is the hypothalamus and there is one nucleus here. This is the mammillary body. So this fornix reaches the mammillary body. From here it reaches the anterior nucleus of thalamus. And from here it reaches the cingulate gyrus, which is present above the corpus callosum. Okay. Now within the lateral ventricle, if you notice a structure lateral to the thalamus, this is thalamus, immediately lateral to the thalamus, a small loop-like C-shaped structure which begins here and goes backwards, and it is C-shaped. It enters into the temporal lobe. This is the head of caudate nucleus. I'm not sure if you can see it very clearly, but just remember, the head of caudate nucleus is in relation to the anterior horn, whereas the body of caudate nucleus is in relation to the central part and also the corpus callosum. Likewise, the tail will be related to the inferior horn of lateral ventricle. That is the idea you must have. So thalamus, if this is the thalamus of this side, this is how it is, the caudate nucleus. This is the medialmost egg-shaped mass. Surrounding the egg-shaped mass on the lateral side, this is the C-shaped structure, caudate nucleus. Body, this is the tail. Okay. If I make a section here, I want you to understand the horizontal sections of brain. So, at the level of, if you notice, this is the interventricular foramen level, right? I am going to make a cut section at the interventricular foramen level so that you can understand the horizontal section. So, what is the section I am making? It is like this, right? So, horizontal section, we are going to make a section like this and view the structures from above. Okay. This knife is especially used to make a smooth cut of the brain without making, yes. Now, before I open the section, a small recap again. What is this egg-shaped mass? This is your thalamus. And what is the structure? What is this cavity here? Lateral ventricle. Within the cavity, floor of the cavity, you find what is this loop-like structure? Caudate nucleus. So, I am going to open it like this. Yes. Now, what is this structure here? This egg-shaped mass. This is your thalamus. And what is this structure which is going to encircle in a C-shaped manner around the thalamus? You can see the head of caudate nucleus here. And if you notice clearly, there is another mass of grey matter which is lens shaped like this here. I am sure by now you are all familiar with this lens shaped structure. It is your lentiform nucleus. This lentiform nucleus has two parts. One, if you focus a little closer, if you can see it in person, because of the light it is not very clear, but this is much paler compared to this area. This is paler compared to this area. You have the putamen and here is your globus pallidus. So this is the cut section, as I told you, horizontal section. Now can you make out what this cavity and this cavity that you see here? Both are cavities of lateral ventricle. So in close relationship from here, can you see this is the thalamus, caudate nucleus, and here is your lentiform nucleus. There is another thing, in the cerebrum, you have the cortex outside, right? So cortex is made up of grey matter, which is nothing but collection of nerve cell bodies. What happens to all the axons of the cell bodies? They all descend downwards and they are given a name, special name, corona radiata, right? That corona radiata, when it reaches this level, they start condensing. They condense in a V-shaped manner here, and this bundle between the masses of grey matter, thalamus, caudate nucleus, lentiform nucleus, between them there is a V-shaped mass of white matter called internal capsule. So internal capsule is called, it has an anterior limb, this is small bend, posterior limb. Anterior limb, bend is called genu, posterior limb. Okay? Now, can we make another section here where you can understand the coronal section. Now we made a cut like this, if I make a cut like this, it's called horizontal section, which divides the cerebral hemisphere into upper half and lower half. What if I divide here like this, anterior half and a posterior half, right? Again, I am making a section at the level of interventricular foramen. Again, what is this bundle? Can you make out what this bundle is? I am sure you can make out by now. This bundle is the cut section of corpus callosum. Here you can again see the head of caudate nucleus. Okay.